Welcome to PLUSone, the series where each month I look at the free games on PlayStation Plus and tell you if they're worth the download. After all, the games may be free, but your time is valuable. Closing out June's list of free PS4 games is XCOM 2, a 2016 turn-based strategy game made by Firaxis. It's the second main game in the second main series of XCOM games, yet again pitting the Earth's XCOM military against an overwhelming alien force known as the Advent. For those of you that may be out of the loop, XCOM was a hugely influential series that existed in the mid to late 90s. The original XCOM game was so beloved that it was often labeled as one of the best PC games ever made, so much so that Firaxis remade the game with 2012's XCOM Enemy Unknown. The remake was wildly successful as well, leading to this game here. I'm sure many of you aren't huge strategy game players though, so let's dive in and find out if XCOM. I'm sorry. The main thing you need to know about the XCOM series is that it is brutal. These games are very unforgiving at first glance. In fact, XCOM 2's plot takes place in a world where you lose in the previous game. So many players never beat Enemy Unknown that Firaxis decided to play off of that. XCOM has been defeated, the alien force known as Advent now rules the world, and the remaining members of XCOM have pieced together a ragtag resistance force. You once again take control of a nameless commander who works to fight back against the forces, rebuild your resistance, and unite humanity to overthrow the alien overlords. That's the gist of the story, so now let's go back to that brutal part. The core gameplay takes place on an isometric angle where you can maneuver the members of your small squad one by one around the grid-based map to try and defeat the Advent soldiers and accomplish whatever objective is at hand. Be warned, these objectives are usually timed. You only have a certain number of turns before you'll fail. There are two different types of cover for your characters to hide behind, full cover and half cover, which leaves you somewhat exposed as the name implies. Each character has 2 turns to use before you move on. You can move into a position and then attack or defend or even reload your gun. You can enter Overwatch mode, which will immediately end that character's turn, but will have him keep a watch and shoot at any enemies that move into his eyesight during their turn. You can even flank to get a tactical advantage on your enemies, but when their turn comes, they can do exactly the same to you. Even worse, they can go as far as reviving dead troops or brainwashing your soldiers. That's okay though, XCOM soldiers are the cream of the crop, the best humanity has to offer, and they will do anything. Yep, we're boned. One of the sometimes hilarious features of this game is the sheer reliability, no, the outright expectation that your team will miss even the most guaranteed of shots. Their accuracy is atrocious, but that's okay, the Advent's accuracy is also bad. Your soldiers, again the best of humanity, can also be sent into a panic so that they're totally useless for a full turn, and it's pretty easy to make them panic. This is where I should note that I am not going to pretend that I'm an expert on XCOM. I'm going into this one as a total newbie, so I'm going to miss a lot of the finer details for which series fanatics will tear me apart. Please be gentle, I'm just a boy! Thankfully for newbies like me, there's a full tutorial sequence that shows you just how little this game screws around, and there are multiple difficulty options. For all the crap that you're going to get from the RNG, the game genuinely is pretty beginner friendly. Now there is a lot of context you're going to lose once you get into the different things you can research, the excavation of your ship's inner rooms, the different tasks you can perform in the overworld map. Just be prepared for your eyes to gloss over at least a little bit at points. Try to fight that urge as hard as you can though. Every moment you're napping is a moment that Advent's getting the upper hand. That's doubly true on the overworld map. Some missions have to be attempted in a set time frame or they're gone forever, weakening your chances against Advent. You'll even be forced to choose between different side missions at points. The game puts every little decision in your hands, so make sure you're up to the task. One thing I cannot stress enough is that you need to play it safe, at least at the first part of your playthrough. Taking risks will get your team seriously hurt or even killed, and XCOM 2 has permadeath. You can spend hours training up an elite team on the field, promoting them up the military ranks, earning them perks, giving them new weapons and upgrades, and then boom, one missed shot and your MVP is dead. Have fun with your new rookie. Oh come on, that wasn't even close, you deserve to die after that. Thankfully, if you fail a mission, you can always restart it without losing your squad, or you can even return to an earlier autosave a few turns back. Of course, be prepared to wait an incredibly long time if you go that route, because this game's load times are pretty rough. I'm not entirely sure what's here that justifies that loading length. The game doesn't look especially good or anything. In fact, the frame rate gets pretty choppy pretty frequently. In spite of the performance issues though, and in spite of the game's insane difficulty, it's so incredibly rewarding when you make it past an encounter, and even more so if you do it with your team intact. Odds are, if you give XCOM a shot, it'll give you some of your most memorable or your funniest moments in gaming in quite a long time. I want to stress again before giving my verdict that I'm glossing over quite a bit here, because there's simply no way I can cover every facet of this game in the usual length of these +1 videos. With that in mind, for this video I've provided as much as I feel you need to make your own decision on this one. I've put hours upon hours into XCOM 2, and I still feel like I've barely gotten anywhere. And yet, I'm absolutely loving my time with it. I definitely don't feel that it's perfect, but I think if you've ever had a tactics itch, you should +1 XCOM 2 without a doubt. Although if you're not an incredibly patient person, perhaps take a pass on this one, because any individual mission will at minimum take 10 to 20 minutes. Also, if you're a trophy hunter, don't even think about it. This is another 100+ hour platinum, and you're going to need to absolutely master XCOM to even have a chance at getting it. If you're watching this video after the game comes off of PS Plus, it goes for full price on PSN and around $30 if you get it at retail. I would say you should most likely go back and play Enemy Unknown first if you're going to invest money into the games. Lastly, the game is only a little bit over 20 gigs in size, so don't worry about it taking up too much space unless you decide to get the massive 40GB expansion, War of the Chosen. Right now, I would say focus on getting through the main game first, if you even can. Which PS Plus game is your favorite from June? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're at it, make sure you hit the like button, it really does help. If you want to help even more, consider watching some more videos, like my review marathon of the Sly Cooper series, starting with the very first game way back on PS2.